Hey guys, welcome into another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I am James Haskell, as always, here with my faithful co-host Glenn Martin. We are really excited to get into this particular episode. I realize I probably say at the beginning of every episode, but this one is
This one you really mean it.
Yes. No, everyone I mean it. I'm excited about everyone, but this one in particular is our first full mock draft for the Baltimore Ravens 2020 NFL Draft, which will happen in multitude of locations. But right now, as you're tuned in, we want to get your guys' grades on our mock drafts, whose mock you like better. So make sure to subscribe so you can keep up to date on it and hit that like button as well. Go ahead and take 2 seconds to do that now before you watch the video. So let's dig into it here. Glenn, what we'll do is we'll alternate back and forth. I'll let you go first. You'll do your first round. I'll follow suit, and then we'll go back and forth. So you'll have the first go for everyone, and then I'll go. That's no big deal. And then, does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So, Glenn Martin.
Yes.
In the 2020 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens are on the clock with the 28th pick.
Yes, they are.
Whose name is on that card, or in the email, or the text message, or however it's going to work this year?
Yes. Well, a lot of people say this position has lost a little bit of value here lately in the NFL, kind of calling it the running back of the defense. But in my opinion, they are a plug-and-play three-down linebacker away from being the best defense in football. So I think they're going to scratch that and check that off the old to-do list. With the 28th pick, the Ravens select Kenneth Murray, linebacker out of Oklahoma, a guy that can do it all. A guy that's a true three-down linebacker. Great against the run. He's got the speed and length to cover out of the backfield and tight ends. Just an explosive, talented player. A player that a position that we've been a little bit, it hasn't been long since we haven't had Mosley, but certainly we felt it since he's been gone. And I think this guy goes right in, starts day one, and has the talent to be a three-down linebacker. And maybe we'll want to bring in some ace safeties in passing situations to play linebacker, because we might have a guy that can do it that's a true linebacker. So I'm going to go with Kenneth Murray. So who you got number 28, Mr. Jimbo?
All right, I like your pick. I'm not totally against it. While I would lose the bet and have to eat hot wing, I wouldn't be upset with it, because I think at 28 he would be an absolute steal. My pick at number 28 is the guy I've been banging on the table about. He's a center out of Michigan, Cesar Ruiz. I really like his game. He's tenacity, wire to wire. He is really strong. He's really young. He's only 20 years old. Really athletic guy, and I think he can be the new anchor for the middle of our offensive line. I think our offensive line is important based on our scheme. Us running the ball in high volume is not going anywhere for this foreseeable future. And so I think having players that are worth high draft capital are important for us on the offensive line. Lamar can't cover those blemishes forever.
Yeah.
So I'm going with the 28th pick, Cesar Ruiz, center, Michigan. All right, Glenn, let's keep this thing rolling. The 55th pick. I'm just checking my board behind me here. The 55th pick, the Ravens' first of 2 second-round picks. Where are you going?
Yeah, so I think I might be surprising a few people with my first second-round pick. I have the Ravens going back to a familiar stomping ground in the NFL when it comes to drafting prospects, and they're going to go to Alabama and draft edge defender Terrell Lewis to come in and help on the outside. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm going back-to-back defense to start this draft.
You think he's going to fall that far? You feel good?
Only reason I think he will is because of the injury risk and the lack of tape.
Dude, if we get him in the second round of 55, holy crap.
Yeah, I mean, it would be incredible. The guy's 6'5", 260. He's got almost 34-inch arms. Just a beast. But the problem is he's had 2 season-ending injuries and just not a lot of reps, not a lot of tape. But the tape that he does have is pretty darn good. So I think the only reason I think he'll even be there is because of that lack of tape and the injury concerns. And I think that's the only reason he gets to the Ravens at 55. Look, I mean, it's hard to, like they always say, the best ability is availability. So it's hard to just kind of disregard those injury concerns that he has. But man, when he's playing, the guy has got it all. He fits exactly what the Ravens look for at that outside linebacker position when it comes to just sheer size and athletic ability. I think he fits right in with what they need, and I think they're gonna shock the world and go back-to-back defense to start the draft. What do you got?
Well, you know what? I'll make this comment as well. I like that pick. I will say that hands picked, our draft experts said, one of them, Craig, I won't put Danny in. I won't add him into this bunch if this is a little bit of an outlandish statement. But he said that athletically, that guy is like Terrell Suggs on steroids when he was coming out of the draft. Athletically.
Statement. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So my number 55 pick, I think you're going to like this. Make sure you got your seatbelt on because you might fall out of your chair.
All right.
You talked about your guy coming in at 55. I think my guy is going to fall lower than what a lot of people are projecting him to go. DeAndre Swift, running back, Georgia Bulldog. We know Georgia can produce some running backs. And I think he would be an awesome fit in our backfield. I think he would be can you imagine him and Mark Ingram as a 1-2 punch, and then you got Gus on top of that? It gives me goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's my pick.
No, I think that we need a guy that's change of pace running back. Thought we had it in Justice Hill, but to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't really see it with him, but a lot of people just say, hey, give him a chance. He's just a 4th-round pick last year. Give him more opportunity. But to me, if you don't have the shake coming out, it's not going to all of a sudden just appear in year 2.
And the difference is that while Justice Hill has been compared to Sproles, DeAndre Swift is 215.
Yeah.
So big difference. He's like you said, he's a home run hitter, but he's got plenty of size.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, no, I like that pick. I would not be mad at all to see the Ravens grab a running back early in the draft, and he could certainly be that guy. So, all right, so we're going to move to pick 60. So the second pick in the second round for the Ravens, and I have the Ravens grabbing Michael Pittman Jr. out of USC, wide receiver. The guy fits a lot of what the Ravens need. He is a quote unquote possession receiver. He has the height, the weight. He's 6'4", 223. He's got long arms, big hands, but he still has enough speed. He ran a 4.52. That's not slow for his size. He's good at those 50-50 balls, those jump balls, which I think we may be lacking other than Mark Andrews. I don't know who else you confidently throw a jump ball to and think he's going to come down with it. So I think he just fits what we need, but, as far as that big physical guy, but doesn't lack in speed as well. So that's what I like about him. So I'm going to go with Michael Pittman Sr., actually. Or, no, Junior at pick number 60. So who you got?
I knew this was going to happen. I didn't think it would happen this early. Well, I guess it was more likely to happen early than later, but I have the same exact pick.
Oh, my goodness.
At 60. Now, if you guys remember, we did the first 3 rounds already. We mocked them. We reserved the right to change those. I'm just saying. That's fair.
Of course. I already did, yeah.
Right. So did I. And so with the 60th pick in the NFL draft, I believe the Baltimore Ravens will also be taking Michael Pittman for all the same reasons you mentioned. As I mentioned, I went to University of Utah. When you listen to scouts on the radio, local sports radio there, they say when you want meat and potato guys, you go to Idaho, you go to Utah, you go to Wyoming, you go to Colorado. When you want skill positions, you go to Florida, you go to California.
Yeah, now I'll say this about USC. They've been disappointing lately. I looked at their draft or their high school signings coming into this season, and I believe they're 10th in their conference, not in the country, in their conference. So
they're still suffering from that Pete Carroll scandal, man.
Well, look, they can't seem to find a coach, but the fact that they are not recruiting well is unbelievable. So this isn't the old USC, but I'll say this about Michael Pittman. Look, there's a lot of receivers that I like, but I had to decide on who I thought would still be there.
Right.
And I just don't think T. Higgins is there at 60. There's a lot of guys. Justin Jefferson, I don't think he's there.
He's the LSU guy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which I think he's a kind of guy that's kind of getting overlooked in the media, but I think could make an impact. So to me, it was Brandon Ayuk. There's another guy who I think, Chase Claypool. There's a lot of guys there, but I just thought Pittman had a shot to be there, and I thought he checks the most boxes, so I went with him. So
I'm with you.
Yeah, I guess we'll move to 92 now.
Yep.
And with 92, I finally have the Ravens addressing some of that interior offensive line issues with the injury to Skura and departure of Marshall Yanda. I have them grabbing John Simpson, guard out of Clemson. Let me tell you about this guy because I like long armed.
Yep.
I like long arms for interior linemen, and this guy certainly has that. I think he had the longest arms in the draft, if I remember correctly, a 34-inch arm.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy over 34. He had 34 and an eighth-inch arm. He's 6'4", 320, 11 and a quarter hand. The guy, big arm or long arms, big hands, 34 reps with those long arms. So to rep 34 times with that length of arm is impressive. The guy's just big and strong. He's, I've seen him compared to KO, which we all love him in Baltimore and wish he kind of would have stuck around a little bit longer. But it's hard to pay two guards. But I think he can be a day one starter and fill in for Marshall admirably. Obviously, we're not going to be able to replace Marshall's talent, certainly not in year one. But I think he'll do a serviceable job, and I think he's just so big and so strong that he would be fine in the run game. Now, we're going to lose some in the pass protection with Marshall leaving, but he would be a beast in the run game, and I'd love to see him at 92. So who do you got at 92?
All right, so now some people might think this is a stretch, but I think based on the depth in the draft, a lot of guys are going to drop or be taken later, not necessarily drop. But I'm going receiver again. We're going back-to-back receivers. I'm looking behind me at my board. I know that's why I'm turning around. But I got Jalen Reagor out of TCU. I think he's gonna fall to that spot at 92, and I think he's gonna be there. I was looking at some of his tape, but when you look at his statistics, the first thing that jumps off the screen to me is his utility. He reminds me of Steve Smith when he came out of school. I just think that he's getting more credit, obviously, than Steve did coming out of school. But what I mean by that is that, so if you think about it, in college, his receiving statistics, he had almost 100. He had 148, almost 150 receptions, 2,200 yards and 22 touchdowns. But he also had, 324 rushing yards in college. He had 2 punt returns for a touchdown in college. So he got used for everything. And Hans Pick kind of sold me on this because they talked about him having that it factor, that grit, and that fire. I like that a lot because I believe, it is my personal opinion, that in any sphere of life, grit can take you further than 90% of whatever else you've been given by God and natural ability. So that's really important to me. I got him going at 92 to the Baltimore Ravens. Would love that matchup based on his speed, his utility on the inside. And could you imagine him and Pittman in Hollywood? And DeAndre Swift? And Lamar. God.
Yeah, don't forget about Mark Andrews over the middle too. But yeah, I mean, I think adding another explosive piece to this offense would be awesome. And I think I kind of show that with moving on to the next pick, 106.
Hold on really quickly. Do you think that my guy will be there?
I think there's a definite chance. It's just so hard. I mean, I could say yeah, but it's just – I mean, just pull up 5 mock drafts and try and look at them all and see how different they are. I mean, it's insane. You just don't know. I mean, you'd like to think that he'll be there, but – a team could fall in love with him. But I think it's a fair place to put him. I don't think it's
cool.
Ridiculous. So moving on to 106, I have a guy like you that has position versatility, that adds a explosiveness to the offense that I think outside of Hollywood Brown and, of course, Lamar, we're kind of missing. And that's going to be so I decided to go with Antonio Gibson, wide receiver / running back / return guy out of Memphis. And this guy is an incredible, incredible athlete. 6 foot, 228, with a little over 31-inch arms, but he ran a 4.39 40 at 6 foot, 228. I mean, that is just insane explosiveness. The guy is a great returner. Played slot, played running back in college, kind of a jack of all trades. Not a lot of wear and tear on the body. Only 77 touches in his college career, but of those 77 touches, he scored 14 touchdowns on those. So a guy that's just a big play waiting to happen, can score from just a multitude of ways. I mean, you imagine putting Antonio Gibson in that Ravens offense with the way they could use him. the deception that the Ravens create. I mean, you lose sight of this guy for a second with that speed, and he's gone. I mean, the guy, like you said with Rager, I mean, anybody who can add a little more explosiveness to this offense is great, and versatility, because I think we all agree that the Ravens need a return. They need help in the return game. I mean, we've had guys at this point. I'm just happy if they can catch it and not muff it.
Right.
I'm not even asking for any production of a big return. I just want a guy that can catch it. But this guy can not only catch it, but he can turn it into something, and he can score in one play. So I really like Gibson, and so I like him at 106. What do you think about that, and what do you got?
Yeah, no, I like that pick a lot. Like you said, he's a weapon. He's dangerous, and he brings electricity to the offense, which is already a high-powered offense. Could you imagine doing a double reverse, and Lamar takes the snap, he throws it to Hollywood, then Hollywood throws it to this kid. And it's like, oh, jeez. I mean, it just doesn't end. You know what I mean? So that's exciting. All right, so my pick at 106. So one observation I want to make, I haven't addressed middle linebacker yet. And inside linebacker. This is how I'm addressing inside linebacker, okay?
Okay,
Before
tell me.
I say his name, I just want to give his stats out, okay?
Okay.
So, his parameters, size. So 6'3", 221, 4'4", 40, 41-inch vertical, and a 140-inch broad jump. Okay?
Okay.
Jeremy Chin out of Southern Illinois is currently listed as a safety.
And hold on, what pick are you doing this
at? That time. This is 106, right?
Okay, you think Chin will be there? Okay, all right.
I do, because he's raw, because he's a small school kid. He's out of Southern Illinois.
Yeah.
I think he's got some. They've got to tune him, right? He needs some tuning. But I think that he can bring some insane versatility to our defense. He can play DB. He can fill in that role easily. The guy that we had on, Evan Brennan, talked about two things as far as the way they scout inside linebackers. Can they rush in the interior, or can they run side to side? Right?
You're talking about, you said inside linebacker.
Yeah. So stay with me here.
Okay.
He's not going to be our full-time inside linebacker. What I'm saying is that the versatility that he brings in his game is such that he could address a lot of the needs that we have at that position if need be. He's a natural safety, but the kid is huge. He's 6'3", 220, coming out of college. He's going to pack on some more weight. He's already an incredible athlete. If you look at his stats in college, he gets his hand on the ball all the time. He's a sure tackler. He dominated small school ball. So I think he could come down there and put on some weight and be an incredibly athletic linebacker if we wanted to. Or we could stick him in the secondary and he could just be a Cam Chancellor type guy. I totally see that happening. I think there's a lot of value there. I think he'll be there. So 106, Jeremy Chin. Love the pick for the Ravens.
Wow. Okay. Well, to me, I don't think he's got any shot at getting to 106, and I think he's a safety because his numbers as far as speed are insane, and his coverage ability is just rare. And I don't think you find a lot of free safeties with that kind of range, with his length and size. I don't think they'll. Now he could play linebacker early on in maybe in a dime package. A lot of times. Right. Teams bring in safeties to linebacker to help cover in those passing situations. But, man, I'd be surprised if he was there, and I'd be even more surprised if he moved from safety.
Well, I'm not saying it would be a permanent move by any means, but exactly what you're saying is exactly how I could see us utilizing him, where he'd come in on these packages.
Oh, he'd be terrifying in that role.
Oh, my goodness. I feel like we kind of did a little bit of that when he was healthy with Tony Jefferson sometimes, and we see us do this sometimes with Levine.
Yeah, Brandon Carr, yeah.
But, man, this kid in there?
Oh, it'd be insane. Yeah, no doubt. All right, well, so moving on to 129, pick 129. So this is the fourth round, right?
Yep.
Okay, 129. So, we saw the Ravens address some of their defensive line issues with trading for Campbell and bringing in Derek Wolfe. And, of course, they already have Brandon Williams. But I think – with Brandon Williams' size of his contract, I don't know how much longer he's a Raven past this year or maybe 2 years. And Calais Campbell is, 35 years old. Derek Wolfe's 30 years old. He's on a one-year deal. So we just don't know. We don't have a lot of certainty going forward with our defensive front. So I think they're going to address it here. They're going to go to your old school there, Jimbo. They're going to go grab a Ute, and they're going to get now. Forgive me if I mispronounce his name. Leki Fotu? Leki Fotu, defensive tackle out of Utah. He's 6'5", 330 pounds with 34 1/4 inch arms and 10 5/8 hands. So long arm, big, stout, strong. Day one, he can come in and he's got the strength to play on the defensive line. He doesn't need to fill out and all this, that, and the other. He doesn't need any. The guy is big and powerful. You know, big in the lower body, got a big tuchus on him. You know, all the stuff you would want for a guy, but he's surprisingly athletic. I mean, you know, he's not like just a big slug in the middle. He's got some athleticism, which we've seen that the Ravens look for. I mean, look at Brandon Williams. When he came out of school, he was walking the length of the field on his hands at his size. You know, we saw Haloti Ngata become a star in Baltimore. And let me tell you, these guys have something in common because, like Ngata, Fotu played rugby, not football, growing up. And he was good enough to play for the U.S. national team and trained with the team in London. So the guy is freaky athletic as well as huge and powerful. So I think he would be a great pick to add depth this year, and then going forward could essablish himself as a permanent starter in the next couple years.
I like it, but I will tell you this. I'm taking 2 Utes. One is an interior lineman, and I think that I'll get to it, but I think he is the more important of the two. Him and Fotu were a tandem, if you will. So we'll get to that here in a second. But okay. My pick is also a Ute.
Oh,
and I actually wasn't a fan of his, but you, Glenn, turned to the page for me on this guy.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Okay.
Because production is production.
Woo!
It is what it is. So with the 129th pick, I took Zach Moss off my board. As much as I fought, and I still wouldn't be mad at the pick, Bradley Anae is where Matthew Judon gets his tandem, gets his other side of the line, rushing the quarterback. Bradley Anae can take on your number 2 tackle, and I believe has the ability to beat him on a regular basis. Strong kid. I think that what he lacks in the stiffness of his hips, he has in hand speed and strength. And once again, just like you talked about with Fotu, he's got the lower body strength. I'm not like crazy twitch, but he's got overall strength. And he was productive in college. Just to give you an idea, they had 2 games with 3 sacks last year. He had 2 games with 2 sacks. You know, ended the year with 13.5 sacks last year. Came up big in some big moments. There weren't too many times where they left him out on an island over there without having to worry about him. So, therefore, I'm going with my man Bradley Anae, straight out of Hawaii, with the 129th pick. All right, Glenn, 134th pick. This is our second pick in the 4th round.
I have 143. You said 134. What do you got?
Did I do something wrong here? Maybe I pulled
Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. Let's see here. What do I got? Oh, yeah. I got 143 written down.
Hold on.
All right. Go to the board.
Give me a second here. Maybe I had a dyslexic moment.
It happens. Happens to us all. Well, let me just say, whichever one it is, it's not going to change you.
So hold on. We have the 28th pick, 60th pick, 92nd pick, 106th pick, 129th pick, 134th pick, 143rd pick. So I think that we were both right. We're on the 134th pick. I misspoke. That was my fault. I skipped a pick.
I'm so confused here. Okay. All right.
Right?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's what you have. I had it written down differently. That's what's confusing me.
All right.
You know. But anyway, so yeah, let me just get into it then, because I like this guy. I think he's kind of this is a guy that's been shooting up the draft boards as of lately that I've seen, but really I still think will be around in the later rounds, and that is inside linebacker Logan Wilson out of Wyoming. I know I have us taking Kenneth Murray in the first round, but I just don't see a lot of depth at interior linebacker. I know they extended who's the guy they got from the Eagles? They just extended him a couple years. Oh my goodness, I'm blanking on his name. They got him from the Eagles to start last year. At the beginning of the season, and they extended. Yeah, LJ Fort. There it is. There it is. Okay. Yeah, LJ Fort. I know they extended LJ Fort, but outside of Fort, who there's not a lot in interior linebacker. So I think they're going to need help, and I think they grab Logan Wilson out of Wyoming. The guy is just a tackling machine. He might not be a three-down linebacker. He's not going to be a guy that you're probably going to want covering much out of the backfield. Backs out of the backfield or tight ends, or certainly not slot receivers. But the guy can get it done on first and second down, monster against the run. And I think it's something that the Ravens were lacking for a little while was just that run defending linebacker that can just go sideline to side and go tackle people. Now, people will say he doesn't have the great speed. He only ran a 4.63. But he just plays faster than that. He's just – I don't know if it's just because he's quick to diagnose the play and so he can get in position a little bit quicker. But he does have good burst and lateral agility, which makes him play faster than his actual 40 time is ever going to give him credit for. But I think he's a guy that could develop into a three-down linebacker in the league eventually. But certainly day one can come in and can help against the run. And obviously he has great intangibles. The guy he's going to fit into the locker room. I don't know. I just like him, and maybe taking another linebacker might be a little bit much, but at this pick, I'm going to go with Logan Wilson out of Wyoming.
All right. So just to clarify, you were right. It's 143, not 134.
Okay.
Slight of wrist there. Got my 3s and my 4s mixed up.
Okay. All right. Good.
But I like your pick. I like the he could potentially develop into something, but has an opportunity to bring value in day one. So I think that's important at that slot. So number 143 for me is another Michigan offensive lineman whose dad had played in the NFL too and played next to my first pick in the draft, Cesar Ruiz. Anyway, so I believe he was a tackle actually at Michigan. So they played on the same line, but the idea is that he would move into guard in the NFL, similar to what happened with Marshall Yanda. And his name, if I'm not messing it up, is John Runyon. Did I get that right?
That's right.
Yeah, and the kid is –
how do you mess up John Runyon?
It could have been Runyon or Runyon or Runyon.
Man, you're a little younger than me, but I remember his dad.
Yeah, well –
you're not that much younger than me.
That's true. So he's 6'5", 320, 2-year starter, first team All-10 all Big Ten in both years. Dad is a former Pro Bowler. Look, the Ravens, as well as every other team, but they talk about that bloodline, right? That tree. We like taking guys that have the bloodline in their family. And so I like the pick. I think he can come in and compete and push Powers and push Bozeman. I believe that he could take one of those jobs. I think he's probably already better than Powers coming in. I don't know about Bozeman, but I think he can come in and solidify one of those guard positions right off the bat, be there with one of his teammates, and really, really bolster this offensive line. So my 143rd pick, John Runyon, University of Michigan, offensive tackle, is going to move to guard.
Wow. I got to be honest. I love that pick. I like it so much that's who I had mocked to the Ravens at 157 also to come to Baltimore. Yeah, I think he's great. I mean, I think you mentioned pretty much most of it, what I'm going to say there. Now, I will say the advantage you get with tackles, guys that play tackle in college and then transition to interior in the pros, typically they're better at pass protection than guys that you're getting that are later round picks that play guard or center their entire career in college. So the guys just got to have a little bit more experience dealing with the quicker, faster defensive ends that you just might not see if you're on the interior. So I think day one he may have a little bit of he might be further along in pass protection than typically what you'd see a late round guard coming in would be. He's got the arm length that you'd want, and he's got the height. that you'd want at guard. He's got over 33-inch long arms. As you mentioned, he comes from a great family, his football family, with his father being a Pro Bowler. And really, to get a guy this late that I think could possibly come in and like you mentioned, push Bozeman, at the very least, push Bozeman in powers, but maybe even leapfrog above them, I think would be a great pick. And you can never have too many good linemen, and versatile linemen at that. Like, let's say, if one of the guards or even one of the tackles or even two of the tackles on the team were to go down, at least that this guy has experience playing on the outside at one of the tackle positions, and you wouldn't be throwing a guy in there who's completely unfamiliar with that position. So anytime you have positional versatility, it's only going to help you overall. So I love John Runyon, and that's why I projected him to go 157 to the Ravens.
All right, so my 157th pick, I'll tell you what, I had Thaddeus Moss, Mr. Moss.
I wanted him so bad in my mock, man.
You know what my problem is with him? And hopefully nobody that is really close to him sees this and grills me, for it. But I just don't know if he's got the dog. I always have a hard time with some guys, not all guys, but some guys that come from a place where they're not on the football field to feed their family.
Yeah.
I just wonder sometimes if they've got the dog, right? And I feel like he has more physical gifts. Like he showed flashes in college, but I don't think his production wasn't off the charts. I think he has the physical gifts to do more.
Are you mocking him to 157? Is this him?
What'd you say?
Are you mocking him?
No, I had him there.
Oh, okay.
I had him there for a long time, and I moved him off my board, and I'm taking a meat and potato guy instead, all right? So this is the true anchor to one of the best defensive lines in the country, John Panisi, out of the University of Utah. The dude is a fire hydrant. I've never seen him get pushed back like an inch, period. The dude is always moving forward. Forget about it. He doesn't move.
What's his name?
John Panisi.
Okay.
He is. I'll give you some numbers here on old Johnny boy. He's 6'2", 333. He played JUCO ball at Snow College in Utah, which is in the middle of nowhere. So the dude loves football because he had to work his way up from Snow to the University of Utah into a starting role. So I really like his. He does the dirty work. He's a lunch pail guy. You talked about Brandon Williams potentially not lasting too much longer with the Ravens. So if we want to stay ahead of the curve, we need a run stuffer. We need a guy who's going to, stuff up the middle. Love the kid. Love his work ethic. So I think he'd be a great pick there. And for his size, like you mentioned with Fotu, he's got extremely good feet, which comes from that rugby history, which seems to also be a big part of his life as well. So that's where I'm going with our pick at 157. Now, we don't have a 6th-round pick. So, Glenn, I know you racked your brain for a long time.
Oh, my goodness.
Over the last pick.
The 7th-round pick took me longer than the first 3 rounds. I don't understand. Yeah, I got problems. So,
give us your very coveted 7th round. It's the 225th, right?
It's 225. Yes, sir.
All right, what do you got for Mr. 225?
All right, I'm giving you – and this is one of my favorite picks because it took me so darn long to get there. And that is defensive end or outside linebacker, where he's edge guy, Trevis Gipson out of Tulsa. Yes, Trevis, like Travis, but with an E instead of an A, and Gibson with a P, which is like Gibson, but with a P instead of a B. So he's out of Tulsa. He's 6'3", 261 pounds. Almost 34-inch long arms. So the guy's got the size that you'd want to play outside linebacker as a Raven. He's got the weight. He's a raw guy, So, look, he's a 7th-round pick, so it's not going to be this isn't going to be a finished product here. This isn't going to be a day one starter here. But I will say the guy is long. He's explosive. He's athletic. I just think that he's got a chance to really put on – look, he added nearly 60 pounds of muscle since he got to Tulsa. So the guy, puts on weight. I don't know, I love explosive pass rushers that, can bend a little bit. He's long-armed. I like guys like that. So I think he's a good kind of prospect, he's a good developmental pick out of Tulsa. So I'm going to go with Trevis Gibson, defensive end.
I like it. All right, so my last pick in the draft, I'm also going defense. I'm going with Shaq Quarterman. Make sure I got his name right. Shaq Quarterman. Gonna be honest, I don't watch a ton of seventh round guys, but he played for a team that the Ravens have drafted from in the past and had much success, the Miami Hurricanes. Now, I'm not predicting he will be a Hall of Famer, but
No.
he is a well-established. He was first team All ACC this year as a middle linebacker. Is a very good first and second down middle linebacker. So if we're in a run defense scenario, he's definitely already able to come in and fulfill that role. Therefore, I think he's worthy of that pick. If not, I don't think he would be drafted at all. His coverage skills are where he suffers greatly, but I think some of that can be covered up, and I think he can. We had issues last year in the run. We saw it.
Yeah.
I mean, if we can get a guy in the seventh round that NFL scouts already believe can be a stout run stopper, that's good. I don't need to hear anymore.
Yeah.
Because the other stuff we can deal with as it comes.
Yeah. Now he fills a need for sure.
So those are our mocks. I mean, there aren't any other picks you got up your sleeves there, buddy, do you?
No, absolutely not. I think if they drafted this way, I would be very, very happy with who they get. I mean, they need certain positions. They're very close to getting over that hump and getting to the Super Bowl, but that hump is the Kansas City Chiefs. So there's some things you need to add if you want to compete with the best of the best, and I think that's their competition right now. And I think if you add some of these guys, certainly in my mock, I think that it will be just what the doctor ordered to get them over the hump and get them past the Chiefs.
And could you imagine, I'm just saying here, DeAndre Swift, like I said, with Cesar Ruiz and John Runyon on the offensive line, along with our two all-pro tackles that we already got.
Yeah.
Man, I don't even know if Kansas City's going to see the ball.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just run it down their throats, man.
Yeah, that's the idea. But no, I mean, I had a blast. I think this was fun. I can't wait. I think we're like 9 days out or something like that to the draft. I can't wait. I'm so excited. It's unbelievable. So keep watching. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, click the like button, hit the notification bell so you get our most up-to-date videos. And just keep watching, and we'll keep putting them out. See ya.
See ya.